The most important aircraft in a future air battle may not have a pilot on board. For decades, combat drones were seen as support tools, operating far from the front lines. But that role is undergoing a radical transformation. Drones are no longer just assets, they're becoming teammates. Modern air warfare is defined by a relentless demand for greater reach, longer persistence, and more operational adaptability. However, relying solely on manned fighter jets to meet these demands is becoming an unsustainable strategy. These advanced aircraft are incredibly expensive to build, maintain, and operate, and their numbers are inherently limited. This creates a critical capability gap. This video will explain why the concept of the loyal wingman drone is emerging as a powerful solution, fundamentally changing how modern air forces plan to fight and win. So what exactly is a loyal wingman? At its core, a loyal wingman is an unmanned combat aerial vehicle, or UCAV, specifically designed to operate in close coordination with manned fighters. Let's think of it not as a remote-controlled plane, but as a direct extension of the pilot's will and aircraft's capabilities. These drones are engineered to perform a range of crucial tasks. They can fly ahead of the formation to extend the sensor range of the lead fighter, effectively giving the pilot eyes and ears in multiple places at once. They can be equipped with their own weapons, adding magazines to the fight without adding more jets. Critically, they are designed to absorb risk, taking on the most dangerous missions. While controlled by human operators and guided by their intent, these platforms leverage high levels of autonomy to execute complex tasks. The key operational takeaway is that loyal wingmen expand the capability and lethality of a single fighter, without the immense cost and training pipeline required to add another human pilot to the force. This brings us to one of the most significant doctrinal shifts they enable: risk distribution and survivability. In any contested airspace, there are high-threat zones saturated with advanced surface-to-air missiles and enemy interceptors. Sending a multi-million-dollar fighter with a highly trained pilot into this environment is a decision of enormous consequence. A loyal wingman changes this calculus completely. These unmanned systems can be sent ahead to scout dangerous areas, deliberately triggering enemy defenses to reveal their locations. They can be equipped with powerful electronic warfare pods to jam enemy radar and communication systems, creating a safer corridor for the manned assets following behind. By design, they are attritable, meaning they are built with the understanding that some may be lost in combat. This strategic sacrifice protects the far more valuable manned platforms and their irreplaceable pilots. The operational insight here is clear. Unmanned systems are becoming the new shield of modern air power, absorbing danger so that the core fighting force can survive and succeed. Beyond tactics, loyal wingmen address a fundamental economic problem in modern defense: cost and scale. A single 5th or 6th generation fighter jet represents a staggering national investment, making it a scarce and precious asset. Air forces can only afford so many. Loyal wingmen, being smaller, less complex, and not needing life support systems, can be produced at a fraction of the cost. This economic reality allows air forces to field them in much larger numbers, restoring a crucial element that has been diminishing for decades: force mass. A flight of 2 manned fighters teamed with 8 or 10 loyal wingmen presents a far more complex and overwhelming problem for an adversary than to fighters alone. Quantity, a quality all its own, is regaining its importance through the strategic application of unmanned systems. The critical takeaway is that drones are a force multiplier, restoring scale and depth to air power in an era of fiscal constraints. However, the rise of these drones does not signal the end of human control. Loyal wingmen are not envisioned as independent, artificially intelligent killers. The operational model is one of human-in-a-loop or human-supervised autonomy. The human pilot or a mission commander defines the strategic intent and sets the rules of engagement. The drone's autonomous systems then execute the assigned tasks, such as patrol this area or engage any confirmed hostile targets within these parameters. The human operator maintains continuous supervision and retains the ultimate authority to intervene or grant weapons release permission. This command relationship is designed to balance the speed and efficiency of machine execution with the ethical necessity and tactical wisdom of human judgment. The action insight is that autonomy in this context is a tool that supports, rather than replaces, the human decision-maker. Finally, the entire loyal wingman concept hinges on one critical and potentially vulnerable foundation: the network. For these drone teams to function effectively, they must rely on secure, high-bandwidth data links that are resilient against enemy interference. These networks must handle a constant flow of sensor data, command inputs, and system health information between the manned and unmanned platforms. If this network is degraded by electronic attack, or if the data links are successfully jammed, the effectiveness of the entire formation can drop sharply. A drone that loses its connection may be forced to return to base or, in a worst-case scenario, could be lost entirely. This makes robust electronic protection and network resilience a top priority. The operational doctrine is simple. Loyal wingman drones are only as strong and as capable as the networks that connect them. In summary, loyal wingman drones are not merely an evolution of existing UAV technology. They represent a fundamental shift in the economics and tactics of air combat. They extend the reach of manned platforms, intelligently share and distribute risk, and rebuild force mass. They create powerful human-machine teams that promise to be more lethal and survivable than ever before. But their success is not guaranteed by the performance of the airframe alone. It will be determined by the resilience of the invisible networks that bind them together into a cohesive fighting force. If this episode clarified the emerging role of combat drones in modern air power, like the video and subscribe to Cut Everything. In our next episode, we will analyze the coming doctrinal shift between manned and unmanned platforms. Comment below. Should the next generation of fighters be designed from the ground up to operate primarily as controllers for drone swarms?